right, so I want to get started by saying, yeah, you know what time it is. It is OU Texas week. Early look at Oklahoma, Texas. Also want to talk through some of the bigger games on the slate this week. We've been looking forward to week 7 for some time. And I got to tell you, man, OU Texas, Ohio State at Oregon, LSU, Ole Miss, Colorado, Kansas State. And that's just for the appetizers. Want to talk through a little bit of the college football playoff projections as I see them. Take on a couple of questions about Ashton, Genty, and whether or not that guy can win the Heisman. And I want to take on a couple of mailbag questions. Got one from a commenter about Gus Malzahn, and I got another one about who, might be into that spot, and then talk about some things that we learned. So, off the rip, let's talk about Oklahoma and Texas. Those of y'all that live underneath that particular rock, you will know that Oklahoma is ranked 18th in the country right now, tied for 18th, as it were. And frankly, of those 3 teams at 18, I don't really see a difference between them. And that says more about Indiana than it does Oklahoma, but you get my point on this one. And Texas is the number 1 team in the country. They're big. They're fast. It's Texas, man. What do you want me to tell you? Like any other week, I think you know what time it is, right? I'm going to tell you straight up and down, Texas is one of the best teams in the country. Their win against Michigan don't mean as much as it used to. But even so, matter of fact, that's a sign. Since we here, it jumped off the shelf. I didn't do that. You saw that. It jumped off the shelf its damn self. But you need to see that's what time it is over here in the young residents. I'm always amazed at how many people watch this show as we're climbing toward 114,000 subscribers, and you should hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. 62% of the people that watch this show aren't subscribed. Don't know that this show is produced in the state of Oklahoma, the great state of Oklahoma. But I also understand that there's a few folks that just don't get why Oklahoma is such a thing. Let me tell you, Texas, number 1 team in the country. Also, Texas won a single conference championship since 2009 and made a single college football playoff since its inception in 2014 and started chirping because that's what Texas does. They start chirping because they did a little bit of something after all these years of underachieving. The great mystery of Texas is why they don't win more often. You've got more resources than Oklahoma. You've got more people than Oklahoma. You've got more money than Oklahoma. You can get any player you want from the state of Oklahoma. Hell, you had Jalen Milroe committed, and you let that man go to Texas. You could do this if you wanted to. And only here of the last year or so, 2 years, I'm counting last year, does it feel like Texas has actually started operating like we should expected one of the most moneyed programs in sports history to operate. So you know all of that. You know that Oklahoma is in the middle of nowhere, BFE, if you are from the country, and I am. Oklahoma is where nobody wants to live. That's what people like telling me. Every time I go do one of these coastal shows, people are always shocked that I want to stay here. They're always shocked that I love the place that raised me. They're shocked that I could get this far in the industry talking about Oklahoma and college football. Also, y'all been underestimating Oklahoma for years. Like you ran people off their land to this land, and then we're struck dumb when oil started to pop up here. And by the way, my gas price this morning was $2.61. What was yours over there in LA? Just gonna let you know that. You know what I'm saying? Also, happy day to Arkansas. I haven't forgot. We're gonna talk a little bit more about y'all today too. Last thing I want to tell y'all is that when I say Oklahoma is where nobody wants to live, Texas is proving they'll let anybody in. You can take that any direction you want to, big dog. Texas is 4 damn states. It's 4 states. Oklahoma got just over 4 million people, a little less than that. You know what I'm saying? That's like the city of Austin right there. You know what I'm saying? But the gold hat, despite all of that, is in the flyover state. Mola Labe. And if you don't know what Mola Labe means, that's on you. And also understand that means you're probably from Texas because you ain't never had to get it like this. Like I always get this question about why Oklahoma is good. It's because we have to be. It's because we have to be. as we get to OU Texas, and Oklahoma has an opportunity, a unique opportunity because Texas ain't really been that good, to knock off the number one team in the country at the Cotton Bowl in their state of residence at the Texas State Fair, I'm going to take on this conversation about what Oklahoma can and can't do against Texas. I'm going to take on this conversation about what Texas needs to do against Oklahoma and why it is more important for Texas to win this game than it is for Oklahoma, even as it's a rivalry and it's the Red River shootout, no matter what the PC population wants to have you say about this. But first, I want to talk about the college football playoff as it relates to OU and Texas. One of the things that I always think is misunderstood about the college football playoff is it's ruining the sport. The hell it is. No, it is not. It's not ruining the sport. All the folks that are claiming that you're ruining what was great about college football because the people that say we're watching, let's call it Alabama, Auburn, right? They don't particularly care, Auburn in this particular case, doesn't really care to win the national championship. I call BS. We all want to win the national championship. That's why we give out so many national championships. That's why we have shared national champions, because everybody want a piece of this. If we didn't care about winning the national championship, Oklahoma State would not raise a banner that is given to Army claiming a 1945 national championship because somebody went and looked at some history books and decided Stillwater needed a national championship. Okay? We all want to win a national championship. And I know I damn well want to win a national championship because they ain't won one at Oklahoma since I was 13 years old. I'm a 37-year-old man. I own a house. I own a motorcycle. I've got 2 vehicles that are paid off. It's been that long. It's been that long. I want a national championship. I want to celebrate this as an adult. I want to be able to toast with an alcoholic beverage to win a national championship, not the damn Hawaiian Punch juice box. Okay? Also looking at this in which we've never seen this much openness for the sport. First, 2024 rhymes with 2007 for college football fans of a certain age. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Other part about that is, after this weekend where we had 4 of the top 11 teams drop to unranked opponents, great Saturday, highlighted by Vanderbilt, knocking out number 1 Alabama, it doesn't feel like anybody is safe from a loss. Feels like anybody can jump up and get you. Also feels like as we head into the meat of this here unprecedented college football schedule, games like this one on Saturday are the ones that are absolutely positively going to matter. Everybody's watching this game at 2:30 p.m. Everybody. It is the lead into Ohio State, Oregon, so you ain't really got nothing else to do. Okay? If Oklahoma were to beat this Texas team, Oklahoma gets themselves right back into the college football playoff, right? It can do basically that this weekend. Now, how likely is it that Oklahoma can do that? Vary. Given what we've seen with Oklahoma in the last 4 weeks, the bye week and whatnot, it does not look like the kind of team that can knock off the number 1 team in the country. Neither did Vanderbilt. And remember, Bama didn't lose to Kurt or Kirby. Bama didn't lose to didn't lose to Dan. Bama didn't lose to Ryan. Hell, Bama didn't even lose to Kirby. Bama lost to Cornelius. Lost to Corny in Nashville. So if Vandy can lose to Cornelius, yeah, it can be as it always is. Oklahoma can hand Texas that L. Now, they're going to get Quinn Ewers back. Quinn Ewers is the starter at Texas. I hope it's going to work for him. But he's going to have to deal with that Oklahoma pass rush. And what I learned most about yesterday is that Oklahoma had the game plan to beat Tennessee. They just have the quarterback to beat Tennessee. Matter of fact, shout out to Sam Pittman, who just said it right out at the press conference. Hey, how did the defense know what to do against Tennessee? We watched the Oklahoma film. Now, if you thought that Tennessee was good, did you think that Tennessee was capable of beating Texas? Probably. If you think that the same defense is going to show up to play Texas, you're wrong. It's going to be a better one because the gold hat is sacred at Oklahoma. It is one of the only ways in which we can get the rest of the nation to take notice of what we got going on over here. Anything else, we're getting made fun of. John Steinbeck wrote about some quitters and some cowards that went to California, and many have followed suit since then. Texas fans want to forget that Daryl K. Royal comes from us. We gave you the best head coach you've ever had. Us, Oklahoma, not just the state, Oklahoma. Hell, if y'all got on the good foot a little bit earlier than you did, maybe, just maybe, you could have won a national championship with Ricky Williams at tailback. Know what I'm saying? I've always been under the impression that Texas should be able to win more national championships than Oklahoma by that margin, right? Given everything that they have. But somehow, some way, us farmers and ranchers out here in the middle of BFE, we stay wearing that gold hat. We stay giving the business to everybody else. And this is why I think the college football playoff matters more to places like Oklahoma, Tennessee, Nebraska, Arkansas than it does anywhere else in the country. We don't have a professional football team. We don't have the Dallas Cowboys. We don't have the Houston Texans. Okay? Hell, we ain't got the Arizona Cardinals. We've had 2 USFL franchises try to come through here, and they left us for Arizona. We got arena ball. That ain't nothing. Hell, the Tulsa Shock up and went to Dallas, and then Skylar Diggins had the nerve to tell us in Tulsa she don't want to live here. Liz Cambridge did the same thing. All we've had is that program. And for a long time, we didn't have that program. For a long time, it's just what you read about, right? We were an expansion team to the United States of America in 1907. Then a botanist, Lord bless him, Dr. George Lynn Cross, president of the University of Oklahoma, had a thought. He'd gone back east where college football was still a big deal then, before they got all the NFL and pro football teams. And he'd seen what it meant for those communities to have a college football program that was a winner. Everybody's morale went through the roof. He felt it. So much so that when he got back home, one of the things that the president of a higher education university had to do was go find a winning football coach. And he found one. His name was Bud Wilkinson. He coached Iowa pre-flight defense. But Bud wouldn't come. Bud did not want to leave his head coach, Jim Tatum. Okay? Jim Tatum, though, he'd take the job at Oklahoma. So Dr. Cross hired him, only to fire him, and then hire Bud Wilkinson to the job. So we get Bud Wilkinson, who, among other things, institutes the 52 front, 52 monster, 52 eagle, the defense of defense. And you know what Bud does? He goes to these grown-ass men and he says, hey, you, sir, coming back from war, would you like to play the game that is based on trench warfare, but also one for which you could beat up on teenage college kids, on these college boys that didn't have to go defend this country at all? Would you like to do that? And they said, yes, sir, I would. Yes, sir, I would. I would like nothing more than to son me some 17, 18, 19-year-olds. And that is what Oklahoma did. And as Oklahoma is doing this, 47 straight wins, count them, winning national championships, the monster is being built. The monster is being fed. People need to come to Oklahoma to see what's going on here. So you don't talk about the Dust Bowl. You know, you don't talk about what carnage has been wrought here. You don't talk about tornadoes. You don't talk about the Tulsa Race Massacre. You talk about that team. And as we continue to talk about that team, a bootlegger's son from Arkansas finds his way to the University of Oklahoma with Chuck Fairbanks. Not long after Chuck Fairbanks, kind of went for him the way it went for Bud Wilkinson. Barry Switzer became the head coach. And Barry understood what it was at Oklahoma. The monster had already been built. All he had to do was feed it. So Barry, in a fur coat and $1 million smile, would go anywhere he needed to go to get players. Anywhere at all. Philadelphia, Mississippi, to get players. Hell, he had Earl Campbell this close to coming to the University of Oklahoma. This close. Just missed it. In the course of that, you get Joe Washington. You get Thomas Lott. You get Greg Pruitt. You get Troy Aikman. You get Jamel Holloway. You get a monster. From the 70s through the 80s, didn't nobody want no smoke with Oklahoma. Then come around in the 90s. lose our way just again, like the 60s. 1998, Joe Castiglione goes to the University of Florida. He gets the defense coordinator. He says, hey, would you like to be the head coach at Oklahoma? Bob Stoops, who played at Iowa, coached for Bill Snyder at Kansas State, hell yeah, I understand what y'all want over there. Y'all are about winning because you have to. You have to win. And he was made to understand, Bob, we got to win. We got to win most every game we play. But the game we have to win the most is this one right here. That's the one. We don't care much about Oklahoma State, that agricultural and mechanical engineering school up there. It is what it is. We're going to beat them. That's usually how that goes. But these folks in Austin, we can't stand them. They can't stand us. The only thing we have to show is a win. We don't get to show business economy. We don't get to show nice highways. We don't get to show Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. We don't get none of that. We don't get no great musical acts till lately. Lately, we've been getting real good music acts. We got some low gas prices. That's what we got. Only other thing we got is that damn gold hat. That ugly hat. But we got to have it because we can't stand Texas. And you know what Bob said? He said, I got you. I got you. And for the last 25 years, Texas has had a couple of moments. They had a moment in 2005. They had a moment in 2009 where they got scuttled and stomped out. Meanwhile, University of Oklahoma is growing up Josh Heupel, who's the head coach at Tennessee. Growing up Sharon Moore, who's the head coach at Michigan. Growing up Brent Venables, who went all the way to Clemson, won 2 national championships, and now he is home. And he understands what Saturday means. He was the head coach his first year. 49-0, we get stomped out by Texas. 49-0, worst loss for Oklahoma in the history of the series. And he said, no, sir, this will not stand. This will not stand. This is not why I'm running stadium steps. This is not why I'm recruiting my behind off. Certainly not why Oklahoma fans root for the program. So some changes were made. Some things were put back. Never mind that we went out there with no quarterback. Devis Bevel, God love him, he couldn't get it done. Never mind that we was down really the only guy that we thought could lead us to this thing. We had that man back in 2023. You know what happened? He led us all the way down the field. He threw a football to Nick Anderson as if he'd been standing there the whole time. And Texas holding one of these. That's an L. Well, Dylan Gabriel ain't here to save you. So I wish Dylan well. He got his own hands full with Ohio State this weekend. Dylan's a hell of a great football player. Did nothing but good things while he was at Oklahoma. I wish him well. It ain't the quarterback that I would worry about if you were Texas, though. I wouldn't. I wouldn't worry about the wide receiver core. I wouldn't worry about the running backs. I wouldn't worry about the offensive line. Nothing on the Oklahoma offensive side of the ball should scare you, which means it's found money for Oklahoma. The thing you should be worried about is R. Mason Thomas getting a free rush to that man Quinn Ewers. The thing you should be worried about is Billy Bowman and Connie Walker ball hawking. Thing you should be worried about is the seek and destroy missile that is Danny Stutzman. I realize you got Jade over there. I realize that you got Trey over there, Ethan over there. I get it. Vernon Broughton over there. I've been telling people about Vernon Broughton for years. It's nice to see that man absolutely coming on. Kelvin over there. Say nothing of Jaden Blue, Jonte Cook, Isaiah Bond. But I'm going to tell y'all, it's going to be some furniture moving. Going to be some furniture moving on Saturday. It's going to be biblical. That's what we here for, baby. That's what we here for. I'm excited about it. You know, this is the only week for which I get to wear the Reds, and I get to be all about it. Because normally, you know, I got on this National College Football Analyst hat. By the way, I got Texas at 2. I got Ohio State at 1. To which I have Texas fans to be in the comments and in the chat talk about, RJ, you hate Texas. Not really. I can recognize that they are good. RJ over there wearing this hat? Yeah, absolutely. Me doing this job? Nah, I recognize what they are. So why you got them ranked 2 and the AP got them ranked 1? Well, because Michigan has proved they're not that good. Okay? Lost to Texas. Also lost to Washington. Okay? That's the best win that Texas has so far. Everybody else is bad. All right? What's Ohio State done? Well, I had them at number 1 to start the year. And it's basically a game for number one when you're talking about Oregon, Ohio State, because now that becomes the best win because thanks to Vanderbilt, that Georgia win for Alabama don't mean much no more. You know what I'm saying? All the way down. That's got ripple effects. But also, like, Texas fans don't want to point out that I have Texas ranked ahead of Oregon, who's undefeated, and Penn State, who's undefeated. We're not gonna talk about that. Y'all just gonna dismiss that, huh? Just like Texas fans. Got a narrow vision of the sport. But you know what? Because you got that narrow vision of the sport, Oklahoma's taking advantage of all of your miscues. Hey, we're not going to recruit Johnny Manziel to play quarterback. He goes to A&M, wins the Heisman Trophy. Hey, we're not going to recruit RG3 to play quarterback. He goes to Baylor, wins the Heisman Trophy. Hey, we're not going to recruit Andrew Luck, who is in our backyard. We're going to let him go to Stanford. Maybe the best overall pick that we've ever seen. I mean, given what he was able to do at Indianapolis, given what he was able to work with, just not going to let that dude. No. We're gonna absolutely squander Cedric Benson. We're gonna absolutely squander Jamal Charles. We're gonna absolutely squander anything at quarterback we thought we had. We've been chasing Colt McCoy for years, and now that we finally got one that kind of looks like him in Quinn Ewers, we'll see. Okay, so that's the Oklahoma Texas bit. Could be here all day talking about Oklahoma Texas. I want to talk a little bit about this Ashton Genty thing before we get into a couple of other mailbag questions, right? First one is, Ashton Genty's not going to win the Heisman Trophy. I realize that many of y'all believe that Ashton Genty is doing something that has never been done before, but you would be wrong. You'd be absolutely wrong. First thing to know is, Ashton Genty plays at a G5 program. The last program to produce a G5 Heisman Trophy winner is Navy. In 1963, it's Roger Staubach, okay? RJ, what about BYU, Ty Detmer? RJ, what about Houston, Andre Ware? That's a Big 12 program now, both of them. Power 4. Talking about what you are right now, and historically what the Heisman voters have done. They won't let you win it. I think what he's doing is outstanding. It's really cool. And they're like, yo, take a look at the last 3 Heisman tailbacks. Okay, yeah, Derrick Henry. He's outrushed them. Derrick Henry had 570 yards rushing through the first 5 games. Ashton Genty got 1,031. Mark Ingram had 487. Reggie Bush had 601. You know what they had that he doesn't? They play at blue blood programs. That's Bama, USC, not Boise State. You got state in the name, it's already a tough sled for you. But you know what? Barry Sanders was able to do it. You know how he was able to do it? He rushed for 2,600 damn yards. And by the way, Oklahoma State was really good that year. This year, even if Boise State had a tailback that rushed for 2,600 yards and 50 touchdowns, Travis Hunter is doing something nobody's ever seen before. Ever. The Heisman Trophy is a pageant contest. You know what a pageant contest is? Where people look at you and judge whether or not you're gorgeous or not, and they give you a score on it, and that sounds awful because it is. But that's what the Heisman Trophy voters do. They treat this like a beauty contest. If it was about identifying the best player in football each and every year, an offensive lineman would have won that thing by now. But, look, man, I can make a great argument for Orlando Pace. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, he was a finalist. I didn't say finalist. I said win the whole damn thing. Instead, this is a quarterback and running back award. That's what it is. Okay? Travis Hunter doesn't win the Heisman Trophy. Throw the whole damn thing out. But you know what? I've been critical of the Heisman Trophy for years. That's not new. You know, usually you got to take that thing by the throat and make it really difficult for them to not give it to you. It's the only way that goes. But even so, right, who are the other G5 tailbacks to rush for 2,000 yards like we think that Ashton Genty is going to do? LaDainian Tomlinson, 2158. Texas Christian, 2000. No, he did not win the Heisman Trophy. Outside the Power 4, okay? Donald Brown, UConn. I bet you forgot about him. He rushed for 2,000 yards. Pernell Pumphrey, that dude rushed for 2,000 yards at SDSU. Malcolm Perry, Navy's flexbone quarterback, he rushed for 2,000 yards. Didn't sniff the 2017 Heisman Trophy. You know, the one that went to Baker. Get out of here, man. I love what Genty is doing. He's a fun dude. I like watching him play football, and I've certainly enjoyed watching Boise State play football. But the idea that the Heisman voters are going to vote for that man to win the Heisman Trophy is a fool's notion. Don't be a fool. They don't watch football. You watch football. And if they watch football, they'd be telling you what I'm telling you about Travis Hunter, which is, my God, that dude is going to rewrite the rules for how we get to play college football at this level. Another mailbag question I had. Feels like Gus Malzahn might not be there at Central Florida after this year, after the loss to Colorado, and now getting sunned by Florida. So not only do we not have a good read on Colorado, because Colorado needed overtime to beat Baylor and Baylor got pantsed by Iowa State just Saturday. Who would you hire next for that job? Garrett Riley and them, there's a certain sort of offense coordinator, Garrett Riley, Willow Stein, that we just don't think is going to be interested in that kind of a job. Going to wait for the big job to open up and then perhaps go get that one. Shannon Dawson might, but I wouldn't expect him to. Shannon Dawson being the offense coordinator in Miami. So who's left? To which I say Fran Brown. Now, not literally Fran Brown, who's the head coach at Syracuse, but somebody like Fran Brown. I'm like Fran Brown. Sam Pittman is like Fran Brown. You know what that is? It is a guy that is 2 steps away from being a head coach. Everybody knows it, right? If you are in the industry, you know this person is talented, and you know given a matter of time, this person is going to be a head coach. But if you go get him now, you can get him cheaper than what it's going to cost you, and that man is going to outwork everybody else around you. That's why Syracuse is 4-1. That's why Sam Pittman was able to beat Tennessee last night. That's why we got to 100,000 subscribers, and we're climbing toward, my goodness, 114, we think, by the end of the week. You know, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button, and we on this journey together. I get a huge kick out of watching folks that have been watching this show for 7 years, 5 years, 4 years, that get to say, my goodness, I remember when there were like 400 people here. I do too, dog. I do too. We have a bigger room and a bigger community, and it's cool because the kid folk just keep growing, and we keep gaining traction, and more people find out what the show is about. More people get involved with who I am and what this is about, and you get to understand that this is a big dinner table. Rules are simple. Be polite. Be polite. Don't cuss in the chat. Don't cuss in the comments. Kids, watch it. It's a family event over here, and it's just getting to be a bigger and bigger supper. So if you can go get a Fran Brown, you go do that if you're Central Florida. That would be my suggestion. Go get somebody that is going to want to hang the moon for you because you had the great opportunity, or you handed them a great opportunity. Is Colorado actually good? It's another mailbag question I got. I don't know, dog. Like, I think they're good. They have an opportunity to play really well against Kansas State, who is a ranked opponent, but they beat a Baylor team that we were sure wasn't good, and then Baylor got destroyed by Iowa State. And they beat a Central Florida team on the road that we thought was good because they had a great run game. Like, they had a top 5 rushing attack. And then Florida turned around and pantsed them. So I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. The only program that is one loss on the schedule for them that's good is Nebraska. And we're not sure that Nebraska's great. Nebraska's 1 win away from being bowl eligible. If they beat an undefeated Indiana, we're going to think about them differently. So that can only help you if you're Colorado. But right now, it's wide open for the Big 12. And that's what Colorado wants. They can win a wide open Big 12. Utah does not feel unbeatable. Oklahoma State has fallen off. BYU, Iowa State, those are the programs you have to worry about right now. I like those odds if I'm Colorado. I think we're going to find out quite a bit about them at Folsom this weekend when Avery Johnson and them come to town. Dylan Edwards coming back to town. That's going to be a lot of fun. DJ Giddens been running all over people. We'll see. We'll see. 3 things that we learned during this weekend of college football I think we got to point out. Texas moved up to number 1 in the AP poll because college football axioms, its ultimate axiom holds true. Anybody can get their ass beat. That's the axiom. Doesn't matter. Any Saturday, it could be you. Okay? Vanderbilt did it to Bama. Arkansas did it to Tennessee. Texas A&M did it to Missouri. Damn, Miami feel like they on borrowed time. Just a dead man walking. They got 2 losses. They just don't know it yet. It's like they're undefeated. I don't know, man. You scrape past the Virginia Tech team barely that Vanderbilt beat soundly. Okay? Well, Vanderbilt just beat Alabama. Yeah, that's right. Alabama should have never lost to Cornelius. You're right. Also learned there that Bama, when they get banged on, they get slumped by the doors. We got to come up with a new name for Vanderbilt because Nick Saban opened his mouth. I love that Nick Saban is an analyst now, man. He's getting what I get. He's getting what all of us get in the business now. You said this, so we're going to make you eat this because Vanderbilt played Nick Saban over the loudspeaker as they stomped out Alabama. King Petty. Loved it. So we got to call them Vanderbilt, B-U-I-L-T, because they're a brick house and they're the Commodores. You understand what I'm saying? Call them the home team because they standing over Alabama's beaten body going, is this your king? Thou wast born of woman, but swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn, brandished by man, that's a woman born. Golly, Vanderbilt, myself, and Macbeth's ultimate fate. But herald me sing a song of October 5th, that date. My goodness, man, it was Shakespearean. It was great. Grant them removed and grant that this your noise hath chid down all the majesty of England. Oh my gosh. Almost forgot the taste of fears. The time it been, my senses would have cooled. If here a night shriek in my fellow hair would at a dismal treatise rouse and stir as life were in it. I have supped full with horrors, direness familiar to my slaughterous thoughts cannot once start me. Ugh! Telling y'all, I was charged up over this Vanderbilt thing, man. I was charged up over Arkansas. Arkansas out here like my man William Ernest Henley. That's my man. William Ernest, that's my man. Oh my gosh. I was thinking about that poem. So I got Invictus written right here. You know what I'm saying? One of like 27 tattoos I have. It's one of the reasons I wear sleeves, right? Tattoos kind of turn people off when they're on your arms and on your sleeves, so we wear sleeves around here. It's just easier. It's more palatable. I understand that. Same thing with my locks, right? Cut them off. Now we got the Chadwick Boseman going on most of the time, but I got a beard, and that's one of the only things I can do because I'm 5'5", 135, but I've been fighting at this weight for like 6 years. You know what I mean? Out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my inconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shades, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Is there a sweeter song sung than Dreams One? I submit to you, no, there is not. Vanderbilt, Arkansas, still living it today, and I want you to, okay? For those of y'all that were kind of thrown off by the Shakespeare thing, that's Ric Flair cutting a promo. That's what that is. You know what I'm saying? That's The Rock coming out with the belt on, raising the eyebrow, counting to 4, watching Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns go, oh my God, what does this mean for the bloodline? Love that. Love that for us. Second thing that we learned out of all of this, man, is that Super Conference is going to box out everybody in the college football playoff, or so it seems. Think about it this week. Last week, 9 SEC teams were in the top 25, 5 in the top 10, and then we had 7 Big Ten teams in the top 25 and 4 in the top 10. This week, after an unrivaled gladiatorial combat at the Coliseum, we still got 9 SEC teams in the top 25 and 6 from the Big Ten. USC, the only one that got bounced out. If USC going to get bounced out, why didn't Michigan get bounced out? Didn't USC beat Michigan? Isn't that how that goes? No, Michigan beat USC. I guess. I guess. I mean, look, they lost to Minnesota. Minnesota gets that onside kick because the officiating this year, for whatever reason, has been atrocious. Man, I hate talking about officiating because, I don't know, it feels like talking about how much interest you gain on your savings account this month. Nobody wants to hear it. But officiating has just been garbage. Because if Minnesota got that onside kick against Michigan, we ain't got to talk about Michigan at all. You know what I'm saying? That would have been 3 losses. Because they were. Do you realize Michigan gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter? And then they got beat by Washington? So what I'm saying is, when you got 15 out of the top 25 that are coming from the super conferences, right? Big Ten and the SEC. It's not going to leave a lot of room for the Big 12 and the ACC to get more than one team in, let alone the G5. So I'm looking at my projected college football playoff rankings. And one of the things that I need to point out, Ohio State be the 1 seed, but I still think being the 5th seed is the best opportunity here. I got Texas as the 2 seed as presumptive SEC champ, right? I got Miami as 3 seed as the presumptive ACC champ, but we'll see because, again, that team feels like a team that should have, like Michigan, lost the last 2, but somehow survived both. And then number 4, I got Iowa State right there because they're the best team in the Big 12 right now. Then it gets interesting because at number 3 in my rankings, but also would be the 5th spot, is Oregon. Oregon would get the highest ranked G5 opponent, which is Boise State, which is a game they played this year, which also makes my point. The 5-12 matchup is just going to be an early non-conference game that nobody wanted to watch. It's just what it's going to be. Okay? It'll probably go the way that it went the first time. And that will really get under people's skin, and then we'll have to start rethinking the playoff because I think what you should be able to do if you're the number 1 seed is go, I want to be the number 5 seed. I will forego the bye week so that I can play the 12 seed and then the 4 seed and then get the number 1 seed off of a game they had to play so the bye week no longer matters. That's what I would want, okay? Number 6 right now, I would have Penn State, which they're at 4 for me and the AP, but that's because of what we do with blue blood bias. If I wanted to rock up with, say, Iowa State at number 4, y'all would laugh at me. That's just not going to pass muster for the public. And you are the public. You are who we think about. Most of this is a Rorschach test for what everybody thinks, not necessarily just who I think is good. Then you get into number 7, right? Number 7, I think, would be Georgia. Number 5 here in my top 25. Number 8, we're looking at Clemson, right, who we think would be the loser of an ACC title game against Miami, but we're not sure, right? And then we go down the line. BYU, perhaps, maybe, but I don't think so. It'd probably be Tennessee. Then if Oklahoma were to beat Texas, you know it would be them, right? LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, Notre Dame, A&M. And then you're running out of options real quick, fast, and in a hurry. So if you are looking at this thing and you're asking yourself, why would I want to win the conference championship in a Power 4 league? Well, everybody wants to win a championship. I want to win championships. I would much rather win the SEC championship and be the 1 seed than have to kind of scuttle in there, right? Because then you're at the mercy of suits on the selection committee. And frankly, I don't trust them. You know, like, everybody is doing a victory dance because Florida State didn't make it into the college football playoff last year because what you want supersedes what they earned. And that's the great thing about college football that we want to miss. All the people that want to tell me that the college football playoff is ruining college football dismiss the idea that it shouldn't be up to you who gets into the college football playoff. It's why we want something that resembles high school football. The NFL, every other major American sport as a playoff, has a tournament where it ain't up to you with your eye or me with mine who's good. And I always am cynical about people that want to tell me that somebody deserves to be into a situation without evidence of a win. You're self-serving. You're not even serving the sport at that point. You are trying to make yourself into the person that gets to say who's good and who isn't. You know who else got to do that? Emperor Rome. You know how it went for him? They burned the place down. You never want to be the person telling people what they should think. You always want to be the person pointing to what is a fact. And if you win every single game you play in a Power 4 league, you should be able to play in the college football playoff. Just as if you are the blessed Lord Dallas Cowboys and you somehow win the NFC, you're going to get to play in the Super Bowl just so we can get embarrassed. But on the other hand, if you are a 7 guess it would be because we play 17 games now. If you are a 7-10 program, right, 7-10 club, and you make the playoffs as a wild card, we're not going to look around at that other team that went, guess it would be 10-7, and say they deserve to be in over you. I mean, that might be true, but them's the breaks. Win the games in your division. Your division sucks that year. Good for you. I don't subscribe to this, man. I don't subscribe to this because too many times in my life and in the lives of people I love, it ain't about how good we are. Like, merit doesn't even factor into it most of the time. It's who you know and how do you know them. Okay? I've said this before on the show, and I continue to say it because it is an axiom that's proven true. You need 3 things to get jobs. You need to be good at your job, you need to be on time, you need to have people like you. And you only need 2 of the 3 to get the job. If you are on time and people like you, you ain't got to be good at the job. Okay? If you are good at the job and you're on time, people ain't got to like you. That doesn't always seem fair, but fair is not what we do here. Now that we are getting into fairness being a part of the college football playoff because the public demands it, I would expect after 2026, they're going to reopen this thing. They're probably going to add 4 more teams to the college football playoff. The SEC and the Big Ten are going to get 4 teams in because they have that bargaining power. And then we'll get people in that we should get in. I was under the assumption that we would want fairness, but nobody really wants that. Fairness would be, if you play for a conference championship and you win it, you get in. Just like in the NCAA men's tournament, NCAA women's tournament. You win your tournament, you get in, regardless of what you did in the regular season. We don't have that long a season in college football, so we really got to put the 2 best teams in each league in there. If you win it, I think you should just get in, and then we'll leave the seeding up to the suits. However, leading the seeding up to the suits is probably going to lead to some 5-12 matchup that we don't like. So I asked this question sincerely. Would the suits and the selection committee manipulate the seeding so that it reflects something that we might think is a fair fight? Or are they going to do what we think they're going to do, which is seed the 12 teams based on the rankings as to who is good, not who is going to make the best matchup? And that is when a lot of folks start to have that same conversation out loud about, hey, it feels like this is rigged. It feels like there's scripted here. Well, anytime you have people that are not involved in the outcome of a sporting event, that's how it's going to feel. And you got to be real careful now because betting, games of chance, has become a big part of what we're doing. It's why years ago, not doing that, right? Because my integrity for what I do is all I got. If people think that I got a real dog in a fight where I'm throwing money on the thing, that's bad news for me. And that's bad news for the sport. You have to be able to say this is straight up and down. You have to do this without manipulating it. I don't see how they're going to do this without manipulating it and not give us a crappy 5-12 matchup or even a crappy 6-11 matchup. It's just really difficult. It's really hard. I just don't see that happening for them. Last thing that I wanted to point out is just what it has become in week 7 for college football. Feels like every game now means that more people have an opportunity to make the playoff, but also every game is more important for those teams that want to make the playoff. So LSU Ole Miss feels like a play-in game. Feels like the loser of that game getting bounced out of the college football playoff conversation. Maybe not, because we could be in a year where nobody's undefeated going to the playoff, and that would be phenomenal. Because then you have so many good teams that are available to be chosen. If you got an Ohio State or an Oregon or Texas or, Lord help us, Penn State, who's undefeated going into the Big Ten Championship, that is what it is, right? But right now, the only undefeated team in the SEC is Texas. Meanwhile, in the Big Ten, it's not just Ohio State and Oregon, Penn State. It's also Indiana. Do you realize how mad people will be if Indiana gets into the college football playoff over, say, a 2-loss LSU, a 2-loss Ole Miss? I can't wait for that. Y'all will lose y'all mind because you don't necessarily believe in the scoreboard. You want to see good teams play. And I would implore you to have your good team win those games. Don't have them doing what Alabama did to Vanderbilt, because that is indefensible. Absolutely indefensible, losing to Vanderbilt. As cool as it is, and it is very cool, Alabama got to suffer the consequence of that. Have to suffer the consequence of that. Okay? All right. That is going to do it for tonight's live episode of the #1 college football show. If you like the show, please subscribe to the channel. We're pushing toward 114,000 subscribers. Folks that got us over 113,000 last night, I love you. You're showing support for the show. Share it with folks that you like. And continue to be live in the comments. Just be polite. All right. That's it for me. Doses.